What is happening, Turbo Toys here? But you can call me Turbo, and today, boys and girls, it has been a minute, but did you miss me? Yes, that's right, I have been MIA for a couple of weeks, but with good reason. I've been using that time to focus on a few customs which I would like to share with you in the next couple of videos. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. Now grab yourself a drink ski and let's get into this. Alright, so I've had a few ideas floating around in the old noggin. And one thing about me is I'm very big on the old retro toys. Now I'm talking about toys that bring back the nostalgia from back in the day. And one toy line that always gives me good memories of my childhood is the WWF Hasbro line. I'm talking about memories of me and my older brother playing with these figures, and I love the fact that I can't actually part with them. So with that being said, I wanted to recreate a few from the Hasbro line into the modern day Mattel versions. So today I'll be recreating Virgil into Elite. Now the only version of a Virgil figure that we've got in Mattel form so far is this Toys R Us exclusive, and even though it's a great looking figure, I would have preferred to see him with an in-ring attire. But of course I know that if we would have got an in-ring attire, I would be saying that I wish I would have seen him in the bodyguard attire. But nevertheless, it's great regardless because we can use this figure to mould and cast a head scan, plus it's great to match up for scale as well. So as long as we've got that head scan, we could just use our own imagination for part choices, and at the end of the day, I just want to have a bit of fun with it. So what we're going to do, we're going to choose a muscular body because back in the day he was pretty ripped. And then we're going to see what we can dig up for his actual attire now. I do want to mention that all the part choices for this figure will be bought straight out the fodder box. So I won't be buying no extra parts for this figure. So by the end of this video you'll probably hear me say what I would have preferred to use instead of what we actually used. But the challenge is basically to create something out of nothing kind of thing. So just to show you the mock-up of what we used for this. Now to be fair, the fodder box ain't quite as filled up as it normally is, but we've gone with quite a simple recipe really. We can see a casted head scan. We'll have to do a painted on torso, and the reason why I don't normally like doing this is because it's always prone to paint chipping. And the trunks didn't really matter, but we used some spare Apollo trunks. We used the Sheamus legs for muscle definition, and then what we did was we finished off with a pair of white boots. So then with all the pieces in place, this is what we came out with. Yes boys, I'm as happy as a pig in stuff for this one. I am really over the moon with it. I feel it captures Virgil really well. And I know he has used this attire before, so it's great to capture it in Mattel fig form. But I just hope he never sees this video because he would probably demand that I pay him for the privilege of making him. Because someone's got to pay for that meat sauce, right? But let's get into what I've done to create this figure. Right, starting off with a head scan. Now I was looking at a couple of reference shots of Virgil and I noticed that in one of the pictures of him that he had a bit of hair growth, and I thought that would be really cool to sort of like replicate that. So you can see here that I've added in the hairline. Also added in a bit of facial hair stubble, and I really feel it added to the look of this one. I love how the eyes turned out, and also mixing up a bit of a colour for the lips because the actual figure release didn't do that, so I feel like it made a bit of a difference in terms of how the scan looks. Now one of the things I said I didn't really want to do was paint the torso. Now what I wanted to do was replicate the Shelton Benjamin Elite torso, and even though I think it turned out decent, I did still have to do a bit of modding to the neck because you still got the dreaded paint rub which exposed the original colour of the plastic underneath. And this was happening every time you turned the head scan. And I really like the style of torso, so maybe down the road I'll try it with the Shelton torso because I feel like it scales up really good with how he's supposed to look. I've seen people use the torso that comes on Xavier Woods, and I feel like personally it doesn't ring true to how Virgil's supposed to look from back in the day. But there is a couple more torso choices I'd like to try if I ever made a future Virgil down the road, like the torso that comes on the Velveteen Dream figure. Or even trying a Kofi torso would be quite interesting, I think. And then I think the arm choice is perfect. I can't really see you going anywhere else with it if I'm going to be completely honest with you. And all I would say is that the wrist tape is optional. Right, as we move on to the lower part. Now to really set this attire off, I sculpted the waistband that has his kind of ruffled effect, I think we'd call that, creating his high 80s style boxing-esque waistband complete with the Virgil decal. Now I painted the white shorts and added the red trim that's on the bottom and the sides of his trunks. I did have to again paint the skin tone on down to his knees. I feel you could use someone like Booker T for this, but it's such a small part of the skin tone that's shown that it'd just be a shame to waste a Booker T figure just for that. But with the inclusion of a pair of red knee pads that I also had to paint to match the colours in, it really made this attire take shape. I also matched in the lower legs with that same colour red, and then finished off with those white boots. Now I am really happy with the recipe for these lower legs, but if I did have to change anything from this attire, I would add the higher style boots, which on a previous Virgil I made I used a pair of Lex Luger boots. But if you're creating on a budget, then these smaller boots are fine. Right boys, so let's see how it compared to its Hasbro brother. Oh yeah, look at that! Like I said, boys, I'm very happy the way this one turned out. Obviously the skin tones are different and we have matched up with the Mattel tones. The Hasbro figure does have wrist tape, but we've opted to go without. And like I said, boys and girls, there is other routes to this figure's recipe. But it's up to you if you want to go out and buy 5 higher end figures just to make a base for this one. And by all means, I'm not saying that this was the easy option, but with a little imagination, you could achieve something great. Now I have done a couple of previous Virgils that you can see on my Instagram at Turbo Toys. And I also done a similar project with making the rockers in their Hasbro attire, which you can also see on my TikTok and the Instagram account. All the links are in the description. But as for this project, it was a ton of fun to do. But I want to know, which WWF Hasbro figures would you like to see turned into Mattel? Did you collect the Hasbros as a kid? Would you like to see another Virgil made by Mattel, but from the self-proclaimed leader of the NWO? That's going to do it for this one. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up, take it a step further and subscribe to the channel. Come follow your boy on Instagram and TikTok at Turbo Toys. And as always, boys and girls, until that next video, I will see ya when I see ya.